There are still people out there who call themselves moderates or centrists, and my message to them is just stop doing that. We're now at a time in American history and in world history where we simply cannot afford to be moderate. We can't afford to just be tinkering around the edges. If history teaches us one thing, it's always that change never starts in the center, but it always starts on the fringes. With people who are first dismissed as crazy and unreasonable and ridiculous. Every milestone of civilization, the end of slavery, democracy, equal rights for men and women, the welfare state, all these ideas were dismissed once as unreasonable and crazy until they happened. Think about the women who first argued for the women's right to vote. Were they the most powerful group in society? Did they have the most money? No, obviously not. But they did have an incredibly powerful idea. It's ideas that prevail. It's ideas worth fighting for. I'm not saying that you have to be an optimist. I'm just saying don't be a pessimist yet. 70% of Americans support Medicare for all. 75% of Americans want higher taxes on the rich. 81% of Americans is supportive of the Green New Deal. These ideas are utterly mainstream. They're supported by the vast majority of Americans. We need to really start thinking about these much bigger, more ambitious ideas, like obviously the Green New Deal, but also eradicating poverty, a universal basic income. Now there's a whole new generation that realizes we need this massive transformation of the economy, and that's not afraid anymore to be dismissed as ridiculous or unreasonable, but just goes ahead with these ideas that just a couple of years ago seemed crazy and out of touch with reality, but are now taken seriously. Whether we talk about rising inequality, whether we talk about climate change, we need much bolder policies, much bolder ideas. And we can do it because we've done so in the past. I think the main hurdle to any kind of political change is cynicism. Just this belief that nothing will ever change and things have always been this way. It will never work out, blah, 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 blah. If people suffer from cynicism, I always advise them to study history. Because history is the science of change. It shows you that things can always be different. How are we ever going to explain to our grandchildren that at this crucial time, granddaddy was a moderate back then? That's something to be ashamed of, I think. I don't want to make the opposition between the left and the right. This is about the people versus the elites. That's what it's about. It's about plutocracy versus democracy. So if you're young, and if you want to change the world, don't be afraid to be dismissed as unreasonable sometimes, because that's how progress starts. If you have a good idea, then just keep pushing for it.